Good morning. Good morning, friends. Shall we start? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Right,
Morning,
shall we start? Okay. I'm waiting for your response. Right, let's start today. We want according to schedule of topics given to us. Today we'll try to discuss about opening of account, different types of deposits accounts, and how to open this account. What are the background? What are legal requirements to open an account? To what extent we are responsible and bound? How to maintain? How to conduct an account on behalf of our customers? And how to terminate the services. Okay, this will be my structure of session today. Okay, so when you talk about the deposits account in your schemes given to us, I have given to discuss about demand deposits as current accounts, the savings deposits, term deposits, and foreign currency deposits. Definitely, since you are a finance company, you don't have demand deposits. You don't have demand deposits. So therefore, I'll be touch upon demand deposits or the interaction regarding opening of a demand deposit. What are the difference between other savings deposits and term deposits and demand deposits? Demand deposits are only commercial banks can open. So it is not coming under your purview. Anyway, since it has been given to us in our lecture structure, I'll be touch upon in demand deposit also for your knowledge, to understand the knowledge. Then again, foreign currency deposits. I don't know to what extent. I think you can open foreign currency deposit accounts according to the central bank guidelines, and we are authorized to open accounts, foreign currency accounts. To what extent you are opening this foreign currency account, at also I am not certain about that part. So therefore, these two items will be discussed briefly to give an introduction, right? Okay, basically, when we start, who are authorized to collect deposits? Institution authorized by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to take deposits from the public. According to the Central Bank Act, the certain authorized people or certain authorized by Central Bank only allowed to take deposits, open accounts and deposits accounts on the public. Only certain categories of institution are legally authorized to accept deposit of money on the public. That means everybody can't collect money from the public. It is illegal. So whoever wants to collect money from the public to certain maintaining account, right? Certain type of accounts, it has to be registered with the central bank. Will come later. Okay. So who are authorized at the moment? Institution authorized by central bank to take deposit from the public. Licensed commercial banks. Okay. Licensed specialized banks and registered finance companies. You see the three areas, three institutions coming under central bank purview. Under the Bank Act, this Central Bank Act, it's called Finance Act, 1950, which is authorized. Licensed commercial banks, then licensed specialized banks, that is who are authorized to open current account, and registered finance companies have been given authority by Central Bank to mobilize deposit from the public under the existing laws. If I look at this structure, There are certain institutions are not coming under this purview. Certain institutions are not coming under this purview. Certain banks, certain financial institutions, organizations are not coming under this field. Basically, if you look at leasing companies are not authorized to collect deposits. Leasing companies cannot mobilize deposits from the public according to central bank guidelines. So the leasing companies always has to be linked with a financial institution, that is licensed commercial bank or licensed specialized bank or finance company. That's why all leasing companies are coming in finance and lease, both joined together. Right? Leasing companies cannot independently mobilize funds, but they can. Leasing companies have separate without collecting funds from the public. Different ways they can collect, issuing financial instrument. They can collect deposits, not deposits actually. Their sources of funds may be from issuing financial instruments to the money market or the money market and collect funds. But most of the leasing companies are going along with the finance companies or banks. Therefore, no independent leasing companies authorized to collect funds on the public. Further, there are certain other categories also. However, the cooperative societies, registered the Cooperative Society Law number 5 of 1972, and building societies incorporated under the National Housing Act have been exempted from the requirement of obtaining license from the or register with central bank for the purpose of deposits. Right? Now, two more institutions are there that those institutions are exempted from the getting a license from the central bank to collect money. Those are cooperative societies. Under Cooperative Society Law number 5 of 1972, the cooperative rural banks also can mobilize deposit, but they are not coming under purview of the central bank. Okay, so all the controls and governing regulations imposed by the central bank will not apply to cooperative rural banks because they are not coming under central bank purview. And also building societies incorporated under National Housing Act, HDFC, right? National Housing Act, also exempted from getting a license from the central bank, right? So, in addition to leasing companies, there are two more financial institutions are there in our society, the market, and who are authorized to mobilize deposits under separate laws. Furthermore, any legitimate non-profit oriented organization can accept deposit, but only from its members, and that too with the written permission of the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Further, certain non-profit organizations can accept deposit from its members, right? They can operate like collecting accounts and maintaining accounts. Not need to go to central bank, but we have to get approval from the central bank. Any of this organization? Now see the EPF, ETF, are collecting funds, no? Members as well as from the members, they collect funds, but they are not under central bank monetary board permission only and operate in such manner. Now let's see in certain in common areas. If you see the in our society, there are certain people who are doing this C2 system, collective funds and distributing among members. So those are unauthorized or unorganized fund collection system. That's for central bank permission. Similarly, in certain organizations, institutions, inside there, members get together and they are having their, what you call, thrift societies. Thrift. They collect funds from the members these thrift societies need to get the permission from the central bank to collect funds from the people. So according to legally in Sri Lanka, no person or organization is authorized to collect funds from the public, money from the public, without a license from central bank, or it is either exempted from the central bank, certain other organization. Okay, this is the background of mobilizing deposits. What is a deposit? How the deposits defined? Banking Act number 30 of 1988, as amended by Banking Act Amendment number 2 of 2005, has given the definition of deposit as given below. Deposit includes a sum of money accepted from any person as a business for terms under which it will be repaid with or without interest or a premium, and either on demand or at future time, or in circumstances agreed to by or on behalf of the person making the payment, and the person accepting it, provided that person accepting the money is a person who is in the usual course of business, lends money or makes available the use or the benefit of the money so accepted to third parties, and also includes any sum of money accepted. Now, Section 86 is specifically mentioned about that. What is a deposit? Money accepted from any person under by the way of collective funds will be prepaid under promise to repay back with or without interest or a premium on demand. Now there is very specific this about whenever you collect deposits from the customers, right? It has to be paid on demand or at future time or circumstances. Right? This is the legal requirement. On demand or a future time of circumstances. Sometimes we may collect fixed deposits. When the customer come and ask for it back prematurely, you cannot deny that you have to wait till the maturity. Although the contract is there, under this Banking Act number 38 1988, and this money is collected payable on demand. Whenever customer asks for it, they have to pay back. It is their customer's money. Okay. Right. Now, opening of accounts. Who can open accounts? Now, when you open an account with the customer, if there's a legal backing, legal background, it's a legal contract. It's a contract. Contract between the finance institution and the customer regarding the opening of account is a contract. So it's governed by law of contract. It's governed by law of contract. So contract law is coming under purview of English law. Okay? The law of contract coming under English law. So I'll tell the single also. Customer ජනජනකරුවෙක් සමග ගිණුම විවෘත කිරීමේදී සම්බන්ධතාවය ඇති කර ගැනීමේදී ගිණුමක් විවෘත කිරීමත් එක්කම අපේ ආයතනයයි ජනජනකරු අතර නෛතික සම්බන්ධතාවයක් ගොඩනැගෙනවා. Legal relationship is built up. Whenever a customer comes and open an account with us, there's a legal contract. නෛතික සම්බන්ධතාවයක් ඇති වෙනවා. මේ නෛතික සම්බන්ධතාවය, the legal contract, governed by law of contract. ගිවිසුම් නීතියෙන් ආවරණය වෙන්නේ. ගිවිසුම් නීතිය ඉංග්‍රීසි නීතිය ප්‍රතිපාදනය. Right? Contract, law of contract is coming under English law. So the English legal principles applies to whatever applies to the law of contracts is applicable for whenever opening of account for a customer. For that contract between the customer and the financial institution, the legal backing is coming from the law of contract. So therefore, everybody who works in the financial institutions, banks, and finance companies should clearly understand about the legal requirement under the law of contract. Under the law of contract, a contract cannot be executed or implemented or executed by only by a major. Only by a major. According to law in Sri Lanka, persons over 18 years are considered as majors. Eligible Lanka Sarakanwa, 90 වශයෙන් අවුරුදු 18 වඩා වැඩියයි. මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් 50ක් තියෙන ලංකාවේ අනුපතකරු 50ක් වගේ වයස අවුරුදු 18 වඩා වැඩියයි. 90 සුසුකම ලබනවා. Under Roman Dutch law, Roman Legislity යටතේ ගිස්වර එළවීමේ හැකියාව තියෙන්නේ අවුරුදු 21කට වඩා වැඩි ළමයි. right? නමුත් ඒක වෙනස් කරනවා වෙනත් පනතක ලංකාවේ age of majority පරලතීමේ පනත කියලා අවුරුදු 18ට වඩා ඕන පුද්ගලයාට ඉල්මක් ප්‍රති කිරීමේ හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා. හරි. ඒතකොට ඒක අනිත් පැත්ත. අවම වයස අවුරුදු 18ට වඩා වැඩි වෙන්න ඕන ඉල්මක් ප්‍රති කරලා මොකද යුසුම් නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ වයස අවුරුදු 18ට වඩා වැඩි අයට පමණයි. ඒකයි ප්‍රතිපාදනය. අනිත් පැත්තෙන් උපරිම වයස කොච්චරද? There's no high limit. උපරිම සීමාවක් නැහැ. ඕන පුද්ගලයෙකුට උපරිම මේ ගිණුමක් උත්තර කරන්න බලන්න උපරිම සීමාවක් නැහැ. ඒ වගේම group of persons පුද්ගලයන් කීප දෙනෙකුට කියලා ගිණුම උත්තර කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපි ඒකට කියන හවුල් ගිණුම කියලා. partnership or joint accounts කියලා. right? පරිවර්ෂයෙන් අපිට 10 දෙනෙක් ලක්වා යන්න පුළුවන්. කණ්ඩායමක් ඇතුළේ ගිණුමක් උත්තර කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම ආයතන වල ගිණුම උත්තර කරන organizations ආයතන වලට ව්‍යාපාරික ආයතනයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් business organization or a non business organization. ව්‍යාපාරික නොවන ආයතන. ඒ වගේම disabled persons මේගොල්ලන් සම්බන්ධයෙන් විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි අවධානය යොමු කළ යුතුයි ගිණුම විවෘත කිරීමේදී. අපි පොඩ්ඩක් මතක තියෙන වෙනම තියෙනවා කියලා. අපි ඒකට කතා කරමු කියන හොඳයි. Okay. දැන් අපි ගිණුමක් විවෘත කිරීමේදී ගිණුමක් විවෘත අපි මං කිව්වා ඕන පුද්ගලයෙකුට ගිණුමක් විවෘත කරන්න පුළුවන්. Yusum අපි කියන යුසුම් ශක්තිතාවයක් තියෙනවා. යුසුම් ශක්තිතාවය. Contractual capacity. To open an account, any account, there should be a contractual capacity. Who are the people who does not have this contractual capacity? යුසුම් ශක්තිතාවය නැති අය උත. අර මූලික වශයෙන් වයස 18 වලට යුසුම් ශක්තිතාවය නැහැ. ඒ නිසා ගිෆ්ට් වල එළිමේ හැකියාවක් නැහැ. ගිණුම් පවත්වාගෙන යන්න බෑ. නයිතිකව. දැන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති කරගන්න එපා. මයිනස් account කොහොමද ඕපන් කරන්නේ? ඒ වෙනම සිස්ටම් වෙනම ප්‍රවේදයක් තියෙනවා. අපි ඒක වෙනම සාකච්ඡා කරනවා. හරි. ඒතොර මූලික වශයෙන් තේරුම් ගන්න ඕන එකක් තමයි so you have to understand that myself the heart අනුවල කෙනෙක් අපි contract එක දෙන්න බෑ. දෙවනුව හොඳ මානසික තත්ත්වයක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ mental incapacity එක නොතිබිය යුතුයි. Well, there's a mental incapacity. The person have mental incapacity. That means he have no mental sound mind about what he does. It's called mental incapacity. So if a person in mental incapacity, he does not have a what you call contractual capacity. මානසික වශයෙන් මානසික ඒකග්‍රාහීතාවය කියන්නේ මේකට සවුන්ඩ් යහපත් මානසික තත්ත්වයෙන් තියෙන පුද්ගලෙක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. මානසික තත්ත්වය දුර්වල වෙලා තියෙනවා නම් වීක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපි කියන මානසික ආබාධිත තියෙන පුද්ගලයන්ට එහෙමනම් ඉදම යොත් කරන්න නීතිමය වශයෙන් හැකියාවක් නැහැ. Legally you can't open account because they are contractual capacity එකක් නැහැ. තුන්වෙනි කැටගරිය වෙන්නේ යම්කිසි පුද්ගලෙක් බංකොලොත් භාවයට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා නම් නීතියෙන් බංකොලොත් භාවයට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා ඔහුටත් යොසුම් ශක්තිතාවයක් නැහැ. කොහොමද මේ කියන්නේ යම්කිසි පුද්ගලයෙක්ගේ වගකීම් ගෙවීමට තියෙන වගකීම් තිබෙන වත්කම වලට වඩා වැඩි නම් උසාවියක් වගේ නිගමනය කරනවා නම් ඔහුට තමන්ගේ වගකීම් ගෙවා ගැනීමට හැකියාවක් නැහැ කියලා ඔහු බංකොලොත් පුද්ගලයෙක් දිනන ශ්‍රී ලංකාව වගේ. දැන් ගිය සතියේ අනවුන්ස් කරන්නේ අපි ණය ගෙවා ගන්න බැහැ කියලා. දැන් අපි බංකොලොත් රටක්. දැන් අපේ ගිවිසුම් ශක්තිතාවයක් නැහැ. ඒකයි ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එක. IMF ගිහලා මුත් කරගන්න බැරි මොකද අපේ ගිවිසුම් ශක්තිතාවයේ ප්‍රශ්නාර්ථයක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. Slept at any person also. Right? So in person bankrupted, till he come out from the bankruptcy, he had no contractual capacity. දැන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට නේද? කොහොමද මේක හොයාගන්නේ? මේක හොයාගන්නේ කොහොමද? ඒ නිසා තමයි පත්තර දෙකක් ගන්න ඕනේ මේ ෆයිනෑන්ස් කම්පැනි CDB එකට පත්තර දෙකක් ගන්නවා හැම බ්‍රාන්ච් එකකටම ලැන්ග්වේජ් එකේ daily hey it is mandatory the information පත්තර වල තියෙනවා. So everybody should go to the newspapers, second page and third page එක ඇති court judgments උසාවි නියෝග තියෙනවා. ඒක කියවන්න වැදගත්. ඒවෙන් තමයි හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් ගාන්තවතුරු දෙනවා. පත්තර වල ඒක කම්පල්සරි අනිවාර්ය පත්තර දෙකක් ගන්න එක mandatory. එතකොට පළවෙනි තෝරන මයිනස් වල contractual capacity නැහැ. Even if you මානසික ආබාධ පුද්ගලයෙකුට contractual capacity නැහැ. දැන් මේ මානසික ආබාධිත කියනකොට talk about this mental incapacity, there are two types. Permanent mental incapacity, temporary mental incapacity. Permanent mental incapacity, temporary mental incapacity. Permanent means a physician or doctor specialist says that he is mentally unsound. That's a Parkinson's වගේ රෝග තත්ත්වෙන් එක completely mental incapacity එකක් තියෙන්නේ. Parkinson රෝගියෙක් නම් ඔහුගේ මානසික තත්ත්වය වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ. කරන කියන දේ තේරෙන්නේ මොනවද කරන්නේ කියන එක. So ඒ වගේ පුද්ගලයෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් ගිනුම් හිමියෙක් ඔහුට contractual capacity එකක් නැහැ. Right? So දෙවෙනි එක තමයි කැටගරියට එන්නේ temporary incapacity. දැන් පොඩ්ඩට දාලා කුණු වෙන බීලා account එක ඔප්ප කරලා කස්ටමර් කෙනෙක් આવොත් මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ? ඒ කස්ටමර් කෙනෙක් නෙවෙයි පුද්ගලයා කියන ඉදුමක් පුරුදු කරන්න ඕනේ. හොඳටම බීලා ලිහිට ගන්න බැරි වැළුවේ ඉනවා. අවසන් fully drunken. So he also does not have legal capacity. Contractual capacity එකක් නැහැ. తాවකාලිකව temporary. හරි. මේවල account වලින් cash කවන්නත් බෑ. මොකද යාම. Right? ඒතකොට ඒතරත් contractual capacity එකක් නැහැ ඒගොල්ලන්ට. Right? ඒතකොට තුන්වෙනි කැටගරිය ඊළඟ තව කැටගරි එකක් තියෙනවා. It's very rarely you come across. Sometimes ලංකාවේ එක සැරේ අපිට දැනගන්න මේ ඒ incidents එකක් තුනේ if a person's civic rights has been withdrawn by courts උසාවියකින් කිසියම් පුද්ගලයෙකුගේ ප්‍රජායිතිය අහෝසි කරොත් okay ප්‍රජායිතිය අහෝසි කරොත් if by a court of law when any person's civic rights has been withdrawn sometime for a period, 5 years or 7 years, civic rights can be withdrawn by the court of law. If such person also does not have contractual capacity. ලංකාවේ එකම අවස්ථාවේ මේක තිබුණේ 1978 වල මම හිතන්නේ 78 වල ඔය නඩුව තිබුණේ 79 වල 78 වල මිසස් පණ්ඩාරනායක සිරිමාව රැස් පණ්ඩාරනායක මිස්ටර් කිලිස් රැස් පණ්ඩාරනායක H.M. Fauci ඒ තුන්දෙනාම සිවික් රයිට්ස් විද්‍රෝ කරා under Java's government. 7 years. During that period, they didn't have, they could not get into any contract, any legal contract, because they are contractual capacity and withdrawal. Those are real cases, but ළඟදී එකක් එන්න ගිහිල්ලා නැවතුණානේ මතකද? සරත් හොසේ කේසේ සරත් හොසේ legal right ගන්න try කරා could not do it because of the international pressure. They are into the case. මේ වගේ තියෙන කියනවා ඉස්සරහට එන්න පුළුවන්. හරි. ඉස්සරහ මොනවා කියලා එන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා බලාපොරොත්තුෙන් ඉන්න. So we have to be alert. So these are the people who does not have legal capacity and not eligible to open any account. That means those who are not have a contractual capacity. Right. Then it comes to disabled people. There are different types of disabled people. Physical disabled people. Physical disabled. ශාරීරික වශයෙන් අකරවන්නේ පුද්ගලයෝ. අත්සන්ගරන ආත්ම නැහැ. ඒ වගේ පුද්ගලයෝ. Then mental disabled අපි කතා කරන්නේ. එතකොට දෙවෙනි එක visual disabled. දෘශ්‍ය ආබාධ පුද්ගලයෝ. අන්ධ පුද්ගලයෝ. Blind people. Blind කියලා කියන වචන මම පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒවල් පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ දෘශ්‍ය ආබාධ පුද්ගලයන් කියලා. In English they call as වචන මතක නැතුණා. Anyway, disabled people. ඊළඟට කතා කරන්න බැරි ගොළු අය. කන ඇහෙන්නේ නැති අය. අන්ත ගොළු බිහිරි කියලා අපි කියන ඒ කැටගරි එක. Disabled people. Now මේ එකේ කැටගරි අරගෙන බලමු. Can we open accounts? First one will take visually disabled people. දෘශ්‍ය ආබාධ පුද්ගලයෝ. ඒ කියන්නේ ස්පේන් නැති පුද්ගලයෝ ඉන්නක විතර කරන්න උඩුවන්ද? Can you open account? Can you open account for a blind person? Come on. I need somebody's answer. Can you open an account for a blind person? අන්ධ පුද්ගලයෙක් ඉන්නක විතර කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඔබගේ ශාඛාවට આવත් අන්ධ පුද්ගලයෙක් ඉන්නම විවෘත කරන්න ඕනයි කියලා විවෘත කරනවාද? Okay, හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නේද? Okay. Naitika, there's no legal barrier to open account. Naitika බාධාවක් නැහැ. Under section 122 of Constitution of Sri Lanka. It's a fundamental right. මූලික අයිතිවාසිකමක්. ඉල්මක් කෘත කරන්න පුළුවන්. ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ 120 වෙනි වගන්තිය යටතේ ඕනම පුද්ගලයෙක් පිළිබඳ තියෙන අයිතිවාසිකම yani fundamental right මූලික අයිතිවාසිකමක්. කියනවා we cannot deny opening account. Then but as the bankers or we call it financial companies, so uh, financial institutions, when you open account for such person, we have to take certain precautionary actions. We have to take certain precautionary actions because their transactions are subject to questionable. Questionable means can be converted into forgeries, right? Filling in the forms, a blind person, they have to get the help of somebody else to fill the forms. When you make deposits, money, they have to get somebody else's help. When you go to withdraw the money, again, they need somebody else's help. So it can be lead to frauds, fraudulent transaction. So these fraudulent transactions will not uh, go against the bank or the financial institution. All right? For that, we have to take a precaution action. Okay? What is the precaution action? When you open an account for a blind person, there is a separate indemnity form. That's a separate indemnity form that gets signed by the blind person. That bank is the finance institution is not liable for any transactions. That indemnity has to be taken and kept in the file. That is our to protect ourselves. Okay, so understand that we cannot deny opening account. We have to open account. When you open account, we have to take precaution actions about transactions. Now, since this is a opening savings account, you can identify the person in presence. Only thing is, you can't fill any forms for that particular customer. Okay, then you are liable. Sometimes you say something fraudulent transaction taken place, then you will be liable for the transaction. So therefore, we have to protect ourselves. Okay, then this is disabled, visual disabled people opening account. There was a case sometime back, this was happened, when we denied to open account in Sidhu, there are what you call blind under Department of Social Welfare. There is an institution there in the Andha Jana Samaje in Sidhu. So, president of that organization came to open account for the Andha Jana Samaje. Bank has refused, and he filed the actual file against the bank, and this court decided it's a fundamental right. Right. Then comes to disabled person, physically disabled, handicapped. Then make signature, signature. Right? Then apati budgali or girma ko dagaran gula. Asangarani bag. Can you open account? One hand or both hand. Still for all we can open it. Still for all we can open it. I come to that. How to make a signature, I'll discuss a little later. What is a signature, form of a signature? Then, defend people. Defend people. Can you open account? So they can see, they can write. They have no problem of opening account for them. Okay, so the handicapped people, disabled people, physically handicapped people, we can open accounts. Okay, there's no barrier for that. Then comes to business entities. We'll discuss what are business entities. We can open account for business entities. Now, basically, I'm focusing you because of CDB, only savings and fixed deposits are opening. So any of these accounts can be opened for any of these people. Okay. So the eligibility criteria should be a mid person over 18 years. That's no upper limit. And he should be a major. There are certain laws. Under certain personal laws, certain people are even below under 80 becoming major. We'll discuss separate. When you become major, they have contractual capacity. Okay. Then comes in Sri Lanka, the structure of law, legal structure, I just briefly told you. Our opening of accounts are governed by law of contract. So in Sri Lanka, we have certain personal laws. So it is law of contracts governed by English law, and also we have a common law. It's called Roman Dutch law. In addition to that, we have certain personal laws in Sri Lanka. What are these personal laws? Pesawalami law, Muslim Sharia law, Indian law. These are the personal laws in Sri Lanka. So we are in Sri Lanka in practice. Now, what are the parameters or the limitations of these personal laws? What text is applicable? Right? Personal laws are applicable for 3 areas: marriages, divorces, and property inheritance. Marriages, divorces, and property inheritance. So under these 3 categories, there are certain legal structures may be affect our contracts. Maybe. Let's see what are those. Right? What is Sesavalami law? To whom it applies? What are the implication on opening of accounts? What is Sesavalami law? Is applicable to only it's a regional, it's a territorial or regional law. Sesavalami law is considered as a territorial law. It is applicable only for Jaffna Peninsula. Jaffna Peninsula, Japani Ardhadweep. Therefore, it is not applicable for outside the peninsula. Ardhadweep Peter make applicable when in a seema material. Right? Okay. That's the first requirement. Second one is any person, permanent resident, any permanent resident or inherited from the Jaffna Peninsula area, the Tesavalami law applicable to them. Therefore, wherever they live, this law will be applicable for them. Okay. Outside Jaffna Peninsula, if the person permanent resident of Jaffna Peninsula or inherited from, rooted from Jaffna, that area, then this law will be applicable. There are certain legal cases there in the Supreme Courts with regard to the practical application of Tesavalami law. And it was as an argument came up, whether the Tesavalami law applicable for other than the Tamils in Jaffna Peninsula. So she said that before 1990, there were Muslims in Jaffna. There are Sinhalese, they were there before 1980s. There are Sinhalese people who were there living in Jaffna. Right? So if they're permanent resident or inherited from Jaffna Peninsula, Tesavalami law will be applicable for them also, not only Tamils. This was a vote decision. But luckily, fortunately, unfortunately, after 1990, no one, other than Tamils, no one is there in Jaffna now. Jaffna Peninsula was that situation. They have been evacuated. There's nobody there. Therefore, that question will not arise for us. Right. Now, what's the practical applicable of Tesavalami law for our parameters? According to Tesavalami law, married women, we have to understand what Tesavalami law, married women cannot get into a contract, cannot get into any contract without husband's written consent. Husband's written consent, not verbal. ලිඛිත අවසරයකින් තොරව ලිඛිත කැමැත්තකින් තොරව විවාහක කාන්තාවකට නිවසීමට එළඹීමේ හැකියාවක් නැහැ. ප්‍රත්‍යසවලාමි නීතිය යටතේ. Now this part is applicable for us when you are going to open an account. Because opening of account is a contract. So Tesavalami affect to that extent. So whenever a Tamil lady comes to open an account, we have to verify whether she is governed under Tesavalami law or not. We have to verify, clearly verify. Manku Kali, I told you earlier, outside Peninsula, this will not apply. Maunia in there make apply when in Particular in the Tamil make apply when in Rurally Tamil make apply when in Although they are Tamils, but they are not coming under this Tesavalami law. Now, how do we know that this, if a lady comes to open an account, how do we know that she is governed by Tesavalami law or not? One of the source documents is that NIC. This is NIC place of birth. Even place of birth is given as in somewhere in just a peninsula. Definitely she is coming under Tesavalami law. No, there's no second question. But now, the younger generation, if you look at, they are outside the peninsula, either Colombo or any other part. So their birthplace is given as that province or that area. So it's very difficult to understand. But their parents or grandparents are from Jaffa Peninsula. How to protect? You can't say no at open account. But this we have to clarify this law very carefully. If you are not certain that that lady is coming under the Tesavalami law, you can definitely get husbands. Well, married women, right? Get a husband's consent. But if you cannot identify, right, that the lady is exactly on that area, better we get a affidavit signed by a JP saying that she is not governing under Tesavalami law. What happens after some time, and if a legal issue comes, subsequently or later on, she can deny and say that I am coming under Tesavalami law. Therefore, this contract is null and void. Legally null and void, you cannot enforce. In cases, specifically you need borrow, loan given the defaulted. And when you file action, then she is turned back and say she is coming under Tesavalami law. Therefore, husband's consent is not there. That contract is null and void legally. So you cannot recover. This thing happens practically. So therefore, we have to protect ourselves. Okay, I'll give a small case for you. This happened in Kottayam. Husband and wife came to open a joint account. Actually, they want to take housing loan. So they came and first opened an account in the financial institution. Husband and wife. Now, do we need the wife to get the written consent from the husband? No, they are coming under Tesavalami law, definitely. They are governed under Tesavalami law. So they want to open a joint account. Do that lady needed to get a written consent from her husband? අවශ්‍යද? Yes. Although she is married, she is a separate legal entity. To contract with the bank or to contract with the finance institution, open account, so that contract she is individual, separate legal individual. So therefore she had to get consent of the husband. Although they are married, that does not apply to their individual legal capacity. Okay. So these are the practical issues when it comes for opening of account, what are the legal background. Right. Then come to the Muslim Sharia law. Muslim law or Sharia law. This is another controversial law. The Sharia law is applicable to whoever practicing Islam religion worldwide. It's a what do you call, law, international, worldwide. All Muslims who are following Islamic religion, it law applies. It's based on the Quran. But I told you earlier, country to country, they have certain limitations of application of this law. In Sri Lanka, I told you earlier, it is applicable only for marriages, divorces, and property inheritance. That's all. But certain practices in Sharia law have certain impact on our contracts. Okay. Now, according to the common law in the country, how many marriages can be legal marriages? How many legal marriages can be done? Only one. Multi-marriage is a criminal offense. Bahuvivahaya saparadi varatapalniya. Only one. But Muslims can marry more than one. Yes. According to practice, it can go up to 11 because Prophet Muhammad married 11 times. Therefore, 11 times and certain conditions are there for that. That is not from the practice. Practice as it is. Muslim Sharia law, they can marry more than one legally. Right? That's why some time back we had Muhammad Gamni Fonseca, Muhammad Major Vijay Vikrama. Certain people who change their name, put a Muhammad in front, and they have multi-marriages. But today you can't do that because there was a case, maybe Naduat Timural Supreme Savi, Sarathen Silla judgment that no person can change his religion unless otherwise he is practicing that religion. Supreme Savi Naduat Timula, a judgment practice කරන්නේ නැත්නම් ඒ religion එක ආගම practice කරන්නේ නැත්නම් වෙනත් අවශ්‍යතාවය සඳහා ආගම වෙනස් කරන්න නීතියෙන් ඉඩක් නැහැ. දැන් ඒකත් අනිත් ඒකත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආව දැන් ඉතින් මුස්ලිම් ළමත් දාගෙන ඒක තුනක් බැඳ ගන්න තිබිච්ච අවස්ථාවක් දැන් නැහැ. ඒක සුප්‍රීම කෝට් ජජ්මන්ට් එකකින් අහෝසි කරලා දැම්මා. On the other hand, most controversial part today, දැන් මේ දවස්වල සෑහෙන මේ කමිටියකුත් අපොයින්ට් කරලා තියෙනවානේ. ජනාධිපති කෝෂයකුත් අපොයින්ට් කරලා තියෙනවානේ. මොකක්ද ඒ? එක රටක එක නීතියක්. මොකක් සම්බන්ධයෙන්ද? මුස්ලිම් විවාහ සම්බන්ධයෙන්. What is the age of marriage? Muslim Sharia law is controversial again. Right. According to the Sharia law, if a person marries below 18, right? If a Muslim, under Muslim Sharia law, if a person marries below 18, he is considered as an adult, major. Sharia law හැටියට 18 වල අඩු පුද්ගලයන් විවාහ වුණොත් ඔහු වැඩිහිටියෙක් හැටියට නීතියෙන් සැලකෙනවා. සාමාන්‍ය නීති යටතේ 18 අඩුවේ කියලා විවාහ වුණොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? Under common law, if a person married below 80, what will happen? That there's no contractual capacity, therefore, that marriage is not legally valid, null and void. And also it's an offense. It's a juvenile offense. Balaparadya. That is Harakal. But Muslims, if a married, he may become a major according to law. So therefore, if a person married below 18 and he is a major, therefore he is having a contractual capacity and he can open an account. Okay? Now, what is the age of marriage what is the age of majority? In other words, what is the age of majority in Sharia law? उसी शरीय नीतियाँ परिणत में वायस हो करते हैं नीति वाले सारे का वायस हो करते हैं there's no age. Sharia law says with the purity change a male or a female, the purity is a sign. So at what age it happens is physical change, biological change of the person. So if the biological change taken place as a major, then he's becoming a major thereafter. That's how Sharia law applies. Anyway, let's see what will happen in the future. Let me changes and harm. So we'll be vigilant and see any changes, then we can practically apply. Next comes to Canadian law. Canadian law, of course, there's not much of a issue for us, except for dispersing of funds of a deceased person. So different Canadian law, there's a different legal structure. And this Canadian law is applicable to Canadian Kingdom, that is Pegol district, Kandy district, Mahathale, part of Anuradhapura, part of Mahathale, and Morelli. This comes under Canadian Kingdom. So people who are there in the Canadian Kingdom, this law applies. If they want, they can practice. According to the Sri Lankan marriage system, there are two types of marriages. One Binna Vivaha, Binna marriage. The other one, Diga Vivaha. Earlier we had another system called Ikage Kama. That is actually that was banned by the British government when the British were there. They abolished that law. Therefore, now the Ikage is prohibited. It's a criminal offense. Multi-marriage is a criminal offense. Right. What is Binda? Groom goes to bride's place. Diga, bride goes to groom's place. What is the legal authority structure? Diga, husband having the authority. Binda, wife is having the authority. Petticoat government. So the property inheritance is the most important in this area. Canadian law. Under Canadian law, women can marry above 16 is considered can marry under Canadian law. Okay, that's the Canadian law. So these are legal structure, personal laws applicable in Sri Lanka. So what are the limitations? How it is affecting our opening of accounts? Next controversial issue comes in the opening of account for Buddhist priest. බෞද්ධ භික්ෂුවකට ගිල්මක් ප්‍රත කළ හැකිද? බෞද්ධ භික්ෂුවකට ගිල්මක් ප්‍රත කළ හැකිද? Can you open account for Buddhist priest? Yes or no? Okay. අපිට Buddhist fees comes to open an account, we cannot say no. ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් නඩුවක් තිබුණා. This is continuing from the financial institution, different case. But in that case, it established the legal background of this Buddhist priest, the contractual capacity. Dhammarakkhita Thera, Reverend Dhammarakkhita Thera applied for a driving license. Dhammarakkhita Hamduru, Swami Vanse, driving license application of Dhamma, Pravahana Komisaris, Volkata Pravahana Komisaris. An application to RMV, Register of Motor Vehicles, asking for a driving license. The Register of Motor Vehicles has refused or declined that request and refused the application. And Dhammarakkhita Thera went to the courts. He filed action against RMV, Register of Motor Vehicles, disregarding at the Supreme Courts. On the judgment, I told you earlier this one. Here, under section 122 of the Constitution, is a fundamental right. Therefore, Buddhist priests can open account. Sorry, Buddhist priests should be given the driving license. Driving license again, නෛතික වශයෙන් බාධාවක් නැහැ because it's a මූලික අයිතිවාසිකම මානසික ව්‍යවස්ථාවෙන් ස්ථාපිත කරලා තියෙනවා. හරිද? If you apply that principle to us, you cannot say you can't open account. You have to open account. Now, the next question comes, operating and maintaining of that account. What are the risks involved in that account, maintaining that account for the financial institutions? Now, if I look at, go to the Buddhist priest properties, wealth, there are two types of properties. One is called personal property, other one is Sanghiga property. According to the Buddhist Temporary Ordinance, the Buddhist Temporary Ordinance is the governing for the Buddhist priest, the law. According to Buddhist Temporary Ordinance, there are two types of properties Buddhist priests can have. One is personal property, says Paravini Depala, Parampara Pavatana Depala, or earned properties. තමන් විසින් උපයාගත් දේපල. පළවෙනි දේපල ඕ උපයාගත් දේපල තියෙනවා නම් ඒකට කියනවා personal property කියලා පෞද්ගලික දේපල. පන්සල සතු දේපල, what is property belongs to the temple is called Sanghiga. Right? Now, according to the Buddhist Temperance Ordinance, who is saying the authority of the temples? පන්සල් වල මහානකාරත්වයේ පිළිබඳ අයිතිය තියෙන කාටද? පන්සල් වල මහානකාරත්වයේ පිළිබඳ අයිතිය තියෙන කාටද? Section 15 of the Buddhist Temperance Ordinance, the public trustee is the authority who having who is having the rights of all the temples. ලංකාවේ සියලු පන්සල් වල භාරකාරත්වයේ සහ හිමිකාරත්වයේ තියෙන්නේ මහා භාරකරුට. ඒක පන්සලේ නායක හඳුරන්නත් නෙවි, බෞද්ධ කොමසාරිස්ටත් නෙවි, නායක සභාවටත් නෑ. මහා භාරකරු තමයි අයිතිය තියෙන්නේ. According to the Act, Buddhist Temperance Ordinance, if any transactions to the Sanghiga property any transaction Sangha property, they get approval from the public trustee. Without public trustee's authority, any transaction is legally null and void, and he has the authority to take back that property by anyone's in possession. Okay, that mechanism. And then, උදාහරණ දේවාලක පඬතේ යටතේ සාංගික ප්‍රොපර්ටි එක සාංගික දේපල තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා මහබාරකරුගේ පාලනය යටතේ තියෙනවා. ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් සිසිල් ට්‍රාන්සැක්ෂන් එක මහබාරක අවසර දොර කරන්න බෑ. can't do it. Now the question comes when you open account, you can open account for a Buddhist priest, but you can make deposits only from personal property. Araveli දේපල වලින් එනේම earned property. ඔයාගත් දේපල වලින් විතරයි deposit කරන්න පුළුවන්. පන්සලේ දේපලෙන් එන මුදල් මේ account එකට දාන්න බෑ. එහෙම දැම්මම ඒක දාන්නම අපෝ ඉල්ලා හිටින පුළුවන් අනිත් අයට අපෝ දෙන්න ඕන පන්සලට. Right, that's one issue. The second issue, if the Buddhist priest dies, ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ අපවත් වුවොත් දේපල වල මොකද වෙන්නේ? ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ අපවත් වුවොත් දේපල වල මොකද වෙන්නේ? පළවෙනි දේපල තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා නෛතික උරුමක් කරන්න යනවා. පළවෙනි දේපල තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා නෛතික උරුමක් කරන්න යනවා. උපයාගත් දේපල සාංගික දේපල වෙනවා. උපයාගත් දේපල තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා සාංගික දේපල වෙනවා. ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ අපවත් වුණොත්. ඒක පන්සලට යයි. right මේ නිසා තාම වැදගත් කරුණු දෙකක් ඉස්සරහට තියෙනවා. එකක් තමයි opening of joint accounts. මේ concept එක උඩ ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේට joint account එකක් හාමුදුරුවෝ දෙනමකට හෝ ගිහියෙක් සමග හෝ පැවිද්දෙක් සමග joint account එකක් අරින්න පුළුවන්ද? බෞද්ධ භික්ෂුවකට joint account එකක් අරින්න පුළුවන්ද? joint account එක කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? එක් පාර්ශ්වකරුවෙක් මිය ගියොත් අනිත් පාර්ශ්වකරුට සියලුම දේවල් හිමි වෙන්න ඕන. ඕකේ. ඒ අනුව Buddhist temperance ordinance එකේ තියෙන විධිවිධාන යටතේ බෞද්ධ භික්ෂුවක් අපවත් වුවොත් පුද්ගලික දේපල ඔක්කොම සාංගික වෙනවා. ඒක ඉඳන්දා ඒක නිසා තව එක්කෙනෙකුට ඒක පවරන්න බැහැ. නිසා you cannot open joint accounts. You can't open joint accounts for Buddhist priest. Right? Second question, can a Buddhist priest nominate somebody for his accounts? නාමනය කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? under මම අන්තිමට කතා කරන නාමනය සම්බන්ධයෙන් section 5 of civil procedure code section 544A යටතේ නාමනයක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Buddhist priest කෙනෙක්ගේ account එකක් නාමනය කරන්න බෑ. මොකද අපවත් වුණොත් ඒ දේපල සාංගික වෙනවා. තව කාටවත් දෙන්න බෑ නීතිය. ඒ නිසා නාමනය කරන්න බෑ. Okay. These are practice that we learn about these things. Very important. We should know all these principles when you're opening accounts. Now, the latest issue in this regarding this issue is the Meheni Sasna. Meheni Sasna is ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා අපිට. දැන් මෙහෙණි මහන්සියලා සම්බන්ධයෙන් බලපාන නීතිය මොකක්ද? මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ මට ආව ළඟදී මේ කන්සල්ටේෂන් එකේ ඉන්ස්පී එකේ මෙහෙණින් වහන්සේ නමක් සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඉල්ලුමක් විවෘත කිරීම. මෙහෙණින් වහන්සේ ගිහියෙක් වශයෙන්දී ඕපන් කරපු account එක සංඝ මේ මහණ වුණාට පස්සේ මොකද දත්තේ? ඒ දීපල කාටද හිමි වෙන්න ඕනේ? අපවත් වූ දීපල කාටද හිමි වෙන්නේ? දැන් ආරාමයේ වැඩ සිටින ආරාමයේ බෞද්ධ විහාර හා දේවාලයක පඬිතුක තියෙනවද? මේක ප්‍රශ්න ගොඩාක් තියෙනවා දැන් අපිට මතුවෙලා. A lot of questions we have come across. Still, that's not been solved yet. So therefore, when an issue comes, we have to get a guidance from the Commission of Buddhist බෞද්ධ කොමසාරිස් තමයි අහන්න තියෙන්නේ. ඉස්සරහ ගන්න සම්බන්ධ legal issues තියෙනවා. මෙහෙණින් වහන්සේලා සම්බන්ධයෙන් දැනට තියෙන්නේ common law එක තමයි applicable වෙන්නේ. Right. So this is the legal background of opening of account. Right. Now, what are the procedure of opening of account? If it's a current account, you open a current account. An interview is compulsory. Interview the customer, prospective customers is compulsory because we have to identify the need for opening an account. Why is wanted to open an account? That's certain issues recently that came across about the opening of account for current accounts. Therefore, the interview is compulsory. So I'm not going to much details because we are not opening current accounts. Therefore, I am not going much of details. මේ සම්බන්ධ වැඩි විස්තරම කතා කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. මොකද අපි current account එක open කරන්න නිසා. අනිත් account සම්බන්ධයෙන් interview එකක් අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. Right? Savings accounts and fixed deposits, we don't need any interview. Only to witness somebody, even the witness we take the identity card in, I see. So that also given away. There's no introduction, no interview in the opening of account for savings and fixed deposit. Next comes the authority. Who has the authority to open account? Now this is still very important. For any account, any type of account, authority is very important. So individual, there's no authority, he himself has the authority. Joint accounts, joint parties have the authority to open account. Sole proprietorship, sole proprietor is like an individual account, he is having the authority. Partnership, it's like a joint account, partners have authority. Now here comes the legal issue comes. Now, for example, a partnership has established to open and maintain an account. They mentioned there are 5 partners are there in the partnership. Out of that, only 2 partners are coming forward to operate the account and maintain the account, and will be maintaining the business and dealing with the bank. Only 2 partners. Who has the authority to sign for the mandate? Who has signed the authority to sign the mandate? Only the 2 people sufficient? Legally, all partners has to sign to open account. Make a request and signed by the all partners. Why? 1894 Partnership Ordinance, which is applicable in Sri Lanka. According to each and every partner is liable for transaction by individually or severally, jointly and severally. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම හවුල් සියලුම වගකීම් සම්බන්ධයෙන් සියලුම හවුල් කරන වගකීම් යුතුය partnership ordinance එකේ තියෙන්නේ. Therefore, authorities or partners in society. When it comes to companies, limited liability companies, who signs the authority? There are 5 directors. Which director is authorized to sign the mandate? If director or directors are authorized. All the directors like partnership? or any director who's going to operate the account. Now here you have to get a legal clearance under the Companies Act. There should be a resolution passed by the board of directors appointing who is authorized to open account. Who is authorized to open account and operate and conduct account. That has to be, should come out from a, what do you call it? Board resolution. Right. Next important thing is what language you are giving the mandate. Application is not the mandate. First you give the application. Which language the customer should fill the application? Language of the application was very important. Right? Now, language should be in which language the prospective customer signing, in that language you are using the mandate. All open form should be given in the language, which language the customer is signing, in that language. Okay. If the customer is filling the application in Sinhala and place the signature in English or vice versa, then what happens? There's a legal issue on that. So the terms and conditions has to be clearly understood before signing the contract. What's the application and the signature are two different languages? Then you have to give a certification. What is the certification? Most instances I have seen the financial institutions have taken the rubber stamp saying that read and understood. Kiyawa therun gati. මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් නඩුවක් තිබුණා අප්පුහාමි vs Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation කියන නඩුවේදී අප්පුහාමි උසාවියට ගියාම ජජ් ડોකියුමන්ට් පෙන්නලා තමයි මේක අත්සන් කරාද මම කියවලා බලලා අත්සන් කරේ කියලා. අප්පුහාමි අනේ හඳුන්නේ මම ඉංග්‍රීසි බෑ මට අත්සන් කරන්න කිව්වා මම කලාස්තර යවුවා. So that transaction is decided that contract is null and void. So legal background. So therefore we had to be Kiyawa therun gati migila sign karana what will happen? Read and understood කියලා. Right? Language තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් read and understood කියන්න බෑනේ. Understood? If you can't understand the language, how can you say that read and understood? ඒ නිසා අපි කතා ස්ටැම්ප් එකක් තියෙන එක හොයලා බලන්න. Read and explained by me. කියලා officer කෙනෙක් බැංකුවේ certify කරන්න ඕන. That's certified by an officer of the institution saying that read and explained by me. කියවා තේරුම් කර දුන්නි. Or else ask the customer to write කියවා තේරුම් කර දුන් පසු අත්සන් කළෙමි. After read and explained to me, signature is placed below. See, this is legal requirements. Okay, language is very crucial. Sometimes you may find that certain people have the language is different type of language. Some we might find have come across some Muslim communities, Boras and other. They sign in Urdu. They put the signature in Urdu. So what happened? Here you get that declaration should be there, read and explained by me. My office has to sign. Or he had to sign after read and explained, place the signature. That application will be that mandate is not legally enforceable, null and void. Right. Next thing is maintaining a minimum balance. Right. Savings accounts for current account. Each and every organization, institution have a certain minimum balance. Maintain a minimum balance. What is this minimum balance? That is the cost of operating that account. Cost of maintaining that account is called minimum balance. So any account going below that, we have two options: either close the account or charge a service charge. Practically, we do the second one. Without closing, we charge a service charge. The cost to cover up the cost. Okay, when customer comes to open accounts, we may be able to do cross selling our other products. We can sell our other products. Right. If the customer is not present for opening account, now for example, savings account, we are going to open account. Customer has not come. The third party, he has sent the application to us, third party, to open account. Can we open account? Customer not present. Can we open account? Yes, we can open account. We have two options, but passbook is not given to the customer. We can open account, but passbook is not given to the person who is going to open account. Either it can be sent by post, or it can come and customer can come and collect it on a subsequent day. Because some of this present passbooks contains the signature of the customer. That's why you are not doing the customer the passbook for the third parties. Right? Passbook, we have invisible signatures placed. Therefore, third parties, we are not issuing passbook. Customers come and collect it, or can send it by registered post without the invisible signature. So, and request the customer to come and place the signature in front of the officer in the bank and the organization to impress the signature on the passbook. Okay, then heavy operating accounts comes for the current accounts, and you can charge commission for that. Right. Current accounts are important because because the deposit mix. Because the current accounts, they are cost zero cost. They are paying any interest from the current accounts, so therefore it is zero cost. Commercial banks, we're talking about the commercial banks. Deposit mix is very important to maintain their cost of fund. Based on the cost of fund only, and the rate for the advances have been fixed. So the deposit mix is very important. Current account, savings account, fixed deposit. If a commercial bank having more time deposits and very less demand deposits, their cost of funds are very high. So it is one of the decision-making instrument about the product cost. Then current accounts, the profitability is very high because a lot of services are given there, and commissions are charged, and profitability very high. The service charges for if the premium balance is not maintained, bank can have a service charge and no interest cost. Right. This part, of course, I'm not going to talk about opening a current account for this, current accounts. It is compulsory to make an introduction. You should know about what is the background of opening current accounts. It's not, but since you are opening, I'm not going to detail. The current account, open a current account, somebody has to introduce a prospective customer. Either he can be a customer of the bank or some accepted person on the bank introduction is given. The introduction is compulsory because person interview says that he knows the person, they identify the person. And then comes to mandatory know your customer KYC information under FRTA Act number 6 of 2006. And I'll discuss this very because we need it for savings also. Then the language of the signature I discussed earlier also, but then because since our checks are signed by the eligible signatures has to be certified and the scanning procedure of the signatures. Right. The scanning procedure is very important for us also. If whenever you get a customer signature for the scanning purpose, use the signing pen. The signing pen or ink pen, because it should go slowly. When you get a signature from the ballpoint pen, when you scan it, sometimes you may find the signature is not clear, it's scattered sometimes, because the ink is not flowing evenly in a ballpoint pen. So there can be distractions in the signature. When it comes to scanning and now with the network banking system, any branch you can go and collect, make a withdrawal because the signature is in the screen. Okay, therefore, always get a signature using the signing pen or a ink pen. Right. Now the other one is under compulsory regulation, KYC regulation. A KYC, know your customer form has to be filled by each and every person who is going to open an account. What is this KYC form? What are the information in that KYC form? How to maintain the KYC form? KYC is a framework for banks which enables them to know, understand the customer and their financial dealings to be able to serve them better. Right? All the banks have been advised by Central Bank of State to follow certain KYC guidelines. These are some guidelines given by Central Bank. The KYC means know what you should know through identity and personal information, address, financial information, beneficial ownership of the accounts. You should know. Who should know? Branch employee, relationship manager, and all bank employees should know about the customer. Who is the customer? One who maintains an account, establishes a business relationship, one on whose behalf account is maintained, and one who carries potential risk through on and off transaction. It is important to have the customer regularly updating his information. Now, this is very important. Last one. It is important to have the customer regularly updating his information. This is in practice what we do. We take this form, printed form is there, we fill the form and attach to the mandate. That's all story. It has to be updated regularly, at least once in 3 months, you have to update it. Any changes taken place has to be updated. Okay. What are the information about in this KYC forms? The circular issued to the licensed commercial bank by the central bank. Giving the guidelines, even the same circular is given to the finance companies also. First part is the customer identification. Following information should be obtained from the prospective personal customer. Customer's name from an original of a document issued by an official authority, preferably bearing a photograph of the customer, such as national identity card, passport, or a driving license. The reference number of such document should be recorded by the bank. Note, following is personal, who is the customer identification of the customer. Name එකයි NIC name එකත් telephone number. Then customers permanent mailing address and supporting evidence which should be confirmed through the correspondence. What is the mailing address? If the mailing address is not agree with the NIC, then you have to get the evidences, that is my electricity bill or any utility bill, to confirm the customer's mailing address. The authenticity and integrity of the introducer and his own, whose identity should be established to satisfaction of the bank. So that's for the current accounts. Integrity of the introducer. Independent verification of the introducer's address should, that also for current accounts. In respect of all types of accounts, return letters and statements should be followed up. This is very, very important. So whenever you send a letter to a customer, if the letter is undelivered and returned back to you, it has to be filed very carefully. You should not throw that. Specifically, the envelope. You attach the envelope to the letter and file it, because on the envelope, the delivery man, the PN, postal PN, have made a comment, recorded. Haragosya, left Kilati, not accepted, party is not there, like that. He may have made the comments. So those comments are very important for us for future references, specifically when we go to courts. This is one of the evidence. Therefore, whenever a letter is returned back, even the envelope is very important for us. Attach it to the particular letter and file in the corresponding file. Where after opening an account, the features of the transactions, as known as the time of opening of the account, changes significantly, causing ground for suspicion of criminal activity. Inquiry should be made with regard to the changes in the financial position and nature of activities which should be recorded. After opening the account, customer's position may change. His income pattern may change, his position may change, his transaction may change. If any changes taken place, you have to update your KYC forms according to changes. Therefore, KYC regulations are not once and for all. It is ongoing. Once and for all means after getting and filing, after you forget about it, no, you can follow carefully. Specifically, deposits amounts. The second part is deposit amount. The retention of records, evidence of liability, etc. amount should be maintained for minimum of 5 years, even after the account is closed. It's called prescription ordinance regulation. The records of the returns, I told that in the envelope and all, had to be kept for 5 years, even the customer dies, under prescription ordinance. The requirement. Where the officer handling the account opening has reasons to believe that the new relationship may expose the bank a significant reputational risk, he may refer such request to an officer, filing authority before opening an account. Now, this is very important for us, current account. Right? By opening this account, bank's position is getting the reputation, bank's reputation getting a risk. We should not open account and report to higher officer whether to open it or not. Now, specifically, it applies to current accounts. If a customer is having a lot of check returns from other banks, and if the customer account has been closed by another bank for unsatisfactory conduct, so that customer's account should not be opened, because it may increase the reputational risk of the organization. So it will be applicable to current accounts, not for our area savings accounts. The internal control auditor may be required to ensure compliance with the bank's policies and customer acceptance and identification by signature. Like, what are the information available in the what you call KYC form? There are, first part is the personal information, that is a name, address, where the spouse is working, employed, and their addresses. Those personal information part. Second one is income. What are the income source? source of income and limit of the income. What are the limits of income maintenance? Okay. Here. So, therefore, for example, customer opens a savings account and he mentioned that his monthly return will be maximum will be 100,000. After opening account, if you are depositing more than 100,000, you have to make inquiry, ask. It is your duty. Now, according to your KYC mandate, you say that your income is maximum would be 100,000, but depositing more than that, from where you got the money? That has to be clarified. And any suspicious transaction, you have to report to FIU, Financial Intelligence Unit of the Central Bank. All the transactions above 1 million, you have to report it compulsorily. Any transaction can have a significant amount change, then you have to report FIU. If you ask for the customer and you come across now the customer's income has been increased, right? You have got a certain, therefore this limit has to increase, you have to update your KYC form accordingly. Okay, you may not need to send to FIU. The internal control auditor may be required to ensure compliance with the bank's policies on customer acceptance and identification. That's very required. Right. The second part is that, third part is the other, any exposure to the terrorism or terrorism activities or such declaration has to be given for the customer. Any connection with the terrorism or terrorist people or the connection. The fifth one is PEP, political exposed person. What is PEP? KYC form, the last part is the PEP. Any political exposed person. According to the information, the clarification, PEP means it's not a politician or political influence. It is, although it's called a political influence people, right? It is meant by if any person's position, can influence for any crime or a fraud, then that's called PEP. Okay. For example, a high officer of an organization have an influence to make customers for fraudulent transactions, bribe and other fraudulent transactions. So that is called PEP. So with the customer having such type of a relationship, you have to carefully observe that customer's behavior. It is not the political connections. Okay. Right. So other things are the initial deposits back to the branch to branch differs because depending on the cost of operating account, initial deposit is made difference. Then minimum deposit requirement. Sometimes some branches or some organizations to control the incoming of customers or control the quality of income of the customers, minimum deposit requirement may be get changed. Next issue is if a customer comes to deposit a check to savings account as an initial deposit, can we accept it? The customer to open an account and he want to deposit that particular check as initial deposit. What's the position? The legal impact on that is Section 82 of the Bill of Exchange Ordinance. Section 82 of the Bill of Exchange Ordinance says you have to collect checks in good faith without negligence for a customer, a cross check. And we collect the check for a customer. Right? Now, before opening account, is he a customer? Before opening account, he's not a customer. So you are collecting for each customer. Therefore, you are not protected by the bill of exchange ordinance. That's why you are not collecting checks as initial deposit. It has to be cash. Even 1 rupee would do because the consideration there's no value amount. Even 1 rupee is acceptable. After that, you can deposit account. Then you are collecting a check for a customer to get the protection of the section 82 of the bill of exchange ordinance. Okay. So මේක සේවිස් current accounts opening සම්බන්ධයෙන් තියෙන condition එක. Additional checks තියෙනවා. If the checks are returned for the amount of funds, you should not open account for that customer, especially the current account. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. We'll discuss type of deposit accounts. What are different types of accounts? And shall we have a small break? Break क्या करांगे अभी लापी continue करूँगा. Okay. Okay. So, what type of to whom we can open accounts? Different types of accounts. A little about what are the documents we needed. Normally, a set of documents we call for opening of account, individual and joint accounts. Basically, the application form, that is application called subsequently converted into a mandate as becomes as a contract. Then NIC form, national identity card, photocopies of the NICs. Then, if the addresses are different from the NIC, get the what you call address proof documents we needed. Also, under the KYC information, if the spouse working somewhere, details of that spouse has to be attached. And also find the for individual accounts, that's for those are the items we needed to open an account, information, the documents which needed. Then comes sole proprietorship. In addition to these basic documents, you have to get a business registration form, copy of the business registration, certified by the bank and attached to the mandate. So sole proprietorships. It is compulsory under the Provincial Council Act. All the businesses in the area has to be registered at the Divisional Secretariat of that area. So therefore, it's compulsory. You have to get a copy of that. Partnerships came same thing, same set of documents you need. Here is, of course, you need to have a political address proof documents because the same the address will be given in the partnership registration, business registration form has to be obtained. Then another important factor here is very carefully understand the partnerships when you open an account. Their partners may have partnership agreement, or a document called a partnership agreement. What is this partnership agreement? Partners can get into an agreement, they prepare an agreement by themselves, and what are their rights and what their duties and what they are going to do, what are their benefits and all, they can put it in document. Most of the instances, what we have found that the partnership agreement can be executed contrary to the partnership ordinance. right? Contrary to the partnership ordinance. Now, for example, according to partnership ordinance, uh, partners has to be treated as equal. Partners, all the partners are equal. But partnership ordinance, the partnership agreement, they may write as according to their capital investment, they have different shares, different what you call rights. Then, if any, according to the partnership ordinance, capital investment interest need not to be paid. Similarly, for drawings, no interest should be charged. But in partnership agreement, partners can establish that interest to be paid for the capital at a certain rate, or if whenever drawings, the money had taken from the business, that has to be subject to interest. Likewise, those conditions can be applied, which is contrary to the partnership ordinance. Therefore, as a practice, we may not take this document. We should not take these documents because we are not legally bound. We are legally bound only for the partnership ordinance. Any conflict situation arises, any legal issues arises with the partnership, when they go for the courts, the partnership agreement will not be considered, only the partnership ordinance will be applicable. Therefore, we should not take this document. Other than that, all other documents may be accepted. These are companies, limited liability companies. Limited liability companies mean that a company means their liabilities are limited to the shares. Their shares, that's all. They are not responsible for more than that. There are three types of companies under the Companies Act can be established: private limited companies, public limited companies, and guaranteed limited companies. There are three types of companies. Guaranteed limited companies. For basic documents are in addition to the mandate, NIC forms, KYC forms. Other documents needed is for all the companies, articles and associations of articles and association of one, memorandum and articles of association, then one document, then list of directors, form number 24, 42. List of directors, names of the directors, certified by the company secretary, and resolution passed by the board of directors to open account. Right? Resolution passed by the board of directors to open the account. That documents are needed. In addition to that, for private limited private companies, certificate of incorporation. Now, in the examinations, most of them are writing business registration. For companies, there's no business registration. It is certificate of incorporation. Right? व्यापार आरंभ किरीमे साहतिके समागम समुदाय register गणना होनी. That has to be there compulsory. For public limited companies, there are two types of public limited companies, but documents are same. As public limited companies, certain companies are quoted companies, some are unquoted companies. Quoted companies are where they are registered with the stock exchange and all the transactions going in the stock exchange. Right? Unquoted companies, they are doing shares, everything private. Right? So these are documents needed. Certified the public limited companies, in addition to certificate of incorporation, certificate of commence of business also has to be obtained. Right? Those are the documents, set of documents needed for companies which are going to open an account for companies. If you happen to open an account for companies. Right. Then comes to societies, clubs, and associations. You can open account for this account. Clubs and societies, associations, and called non-business organizations mostly. What are the documents needed? Basic documents we have discussed. The set of documents are okay. That is mandate. NICs of the what you call office bearers and KYCs of the office bearers. In addition to that, society, clubs, and association, you will get the what you call their resolution and their constitution. Sorry, their constitution, copy of the constitution duly certified by the chairman and the secretary, and copy of the board, copy of the general meeting. Copy of the general meeting where the office bearers has been appointed. Right? Copy of the general meeting where the office bearers has been appointed, certified by the president and the secretary. Right? Then the resolution. Also, pass resolution to open account in your institution. These are the documents we need to open account to societies, clubs, and associations. Under clubs and associations, there are certain other institutions also comes under this category. Normally, there's no registration procedure for clubs and societies, unlike companies or other, they don't have any registration. There are no registration procedure. But certain categories of societies, association, they need certain registration procedure. For example, if you are opening an account for a trade union, if you are opening an account for a trade union, then you have to get the approval, the what you call certification, right? From the Commission of Labor. To get this, so the trade union has been registered. It's a registered trade union. So I have to get a registration from the Commission of Labor. Then you open accounts for Muslim Muslim mosque and madrasas, religious activity for open account. Right. Then Muslim mosque, if you open account, you have to get the appointment of trustees approved by the Waqf board, that is at the Muslim Religious Affairs, the Ministry of Muslim Religious Affairs, they are called Waqf board. So Waqf board will approve the office bearers of the mosque. So that list has to be obtained with the registration, other than the list of the document what I discussed earlier. When it comes to Catholic churches, can you open account? Yes, Catholic churches we can open account, but we have to get the Archbishop has to open the account. Archbishop is the sole authority to open account. Then Hindu temples, of course, we don't have any other problem. The temple, the trustees can open the account. Then comes to we discussed as well. Then the government accounts. Normally, government accounts, there are two types of governments we have: the central government and provincial government. Central governments, if you open an account, the DST, Deputy Secretary of Treasury, has to make a request. Normally, this goes for commercial banks opening current account. The reality comes to savings account in their companies like that, because these are not investment accounts; these are operating accounts. Therefore, normally it may not come for us, but we should know what this is. So, government accounts you can open with the approval of the Deputy Secretary of the Treasury, DST. When it comes to provincial government, is the Chief Minister. Provincial government, when it comes to Chief Minister. Government schools, we have two types of accounts. One is called government school account, that comes under government account type. Right? That is quite normally, as we discussed earlier, like government account. There are government school we have called welfare society account or parent teacher association, welfare account, and developer society accounts. Now these accounts we can open. These accounts we can open. This is not needed to get this. It's like a normal normal clubs and society types of accounts we can open. There won't be any requirements of approval from anybody else. Then comes to executors and administrators. This also not comes to us mostly because most these accounts are current accounts. Normally opens in the commercial banks. Executors mean a person dies with a last will. The person dies with a last will. The last will has to be proved at the court of law, the district courts. So in the district court, we appoint a person called executor, is called given a probate to discharge all the assets of the deceased person. That person called executor. If a person dies intestate, that means without a last will, if the value of the assets are more than 4 million, then this has to be a testamentary case has to be filed at the district courts, and court will appoint a person called administrator. He has to manage and disperse all the assets of the deceased person and report back to the both executors and administrators, report back to the courts, district court, after finishing their job. Right? So those accounts we may not, most is current account, so we don't have to worry. We have a bit in. Then comes the cooperative societies. Again, cooperative society also cannot open accounts. Else, only People's Bank, they can open account only in People's Bank. The reason is People's Bank has been established amalgamating 3 cooperative banks. 3 cooperative banks have been amalgamated in 1962, established the cooperative, People's Bank. And therefore, 49% of the shares belongs to the cooperative societies and managed by Commission of Cooperative Development, and 51% belongs to the government treasury. Okay, so according to the People's Bank Act, all the cooperative societies has to maintain account only at People's Bank, no other banks. But there are certain cooperative societies that they are established for non-business purposes. There are certain cooperative societies established non-business cooperatives. You may come across in Colombo, you may find that one cooperative society called what you call wharf clearing lorries. In the ports, wharf clearing lorries, they get together and form a cooperative society called Lorry Owners Cooperative Society. Then milk collectors cooperative society in our country, you may find that milk collectors, they get together union and they call milk collectors cooperative society. Likewise, certain industries, certain small, that cooperative societies can be established. Now, these cooperative societies can open account any other organizations, right? Any other, that means they can come to your finance company also to open account. So only one, in addition to the document that we discussed, basic documents earlier, only document needs to approval from the Provincial Commission of the Cooperative Development. Provincial Council Commission of the Cooperative Development. Then comes this lawyer's account, that also a current account mostly. This lawyer's account are called clients' accounts. Lawyers can maintain accounts on behalf of their clients, so those are tax-free, and even the checkbook is given free. So these accounts. Then comes the trust accounts, that was current account again. Any person dies with the estate, is given to also appoint a trustee to do certain manage that estate. Those accounts normally we won't accept. We'll refer to the legal department, say whether we can accept it, or normally we send this all this type of trust accounts to the public trust. Right. This non-resident foreign currency account we'll discuss later. As a separate, I will schedule that separately. We'll discuss. So these are the types of accounts can be opened by for any by ourselves. Okay. Now next comes to opening of minors accounts, minor savings accounts. Now, I mentioned in the morning that you have no authority to open accounts for any person below 18 years. It's called a minor. But Central Bank has given approval sometime back about 1990s to open this minors savings accounts. What are the features of minor savings accounts? How to open an account? How to do the withdrawals? The guidelines given by the Central Bank we have to follow. Basically, minors accounts can be opened by parent or a guardian. Parent or a guardian can open on behalf of a minor. Basic feature of this minors account is you cannot do any withdrawals till the minor get a major. That is, we have to be after 18 years only. It's becoming after 18 only. We can withdraw can operator withdraw the minors account. Right? No withdrawals on the minors accounts. Anybody can make deposits. Anybody can make any amount of deposits to minors account. So therefore, this almost all the finance institutions are running behind this minors account, because this minors account is going to be a long-term funds of that institution. Long-term funds of the institution. Therefore, most of the banks, finance companies are running behind to open these accounts. Right. There are 4 instances allowed by Central Bank to make withdrawals from these minors accounts. Number 1, for medical purposes. If that minor suffering from severe need of severe medical treatment, with the request has to be made by a professional specialist doctor or a DMO in the public hospital. Has to make a request for a specific instrument or specific operation, any needed by that particular minor, we can make a withdrawal. Secondly, educational purposes. If a need the particular minor needed a specific equipment or books or some payments to be made on behalf of this student, that can be make a withdrawal from the savings account. That also has to be given by the principal of the request has to be made by the principal of the school. Right? These 2 instances we allow. And third one is if the parents are migrating. If the parents are migrating, then we can close or withdraw the money, close the account, and issue foreign currency to the parents. Fourth instance, you can transfer one minor account from one bank to another bank. Or we can transfer minus account, we can have two accounts, one account to another account. Internal transfers can be taken place. For minus, so one bank to another bank, minus account can be open account and transferred. So these are four instances it's allowed to withdraw. But we'll go for the first two sessions. First two, one, educational and medical. Who are authorized to withdraw the money? Who are authorized to withdraw money? You cannot withdraw money for the counter because there is no signature. There is no signature. Therefore, you cannot withdraw cash out from the counters. There was a payout has to be sent to the organization. For example, for medical purposes, the hospital or relevant authority, the payout has to be sent. No withdrawal. No withdrawal for minus accounts. Sometimes this is the place we are making mistakes. The parents comes and also I'm bringing a letter from a principal and you are allowed to withdraw. You have no authority to withdraw that money because parent signatures has not been registered with us. Okay? So you can't withdraw. Then the issue came, the scholarships have started in late 90s. Scholarships started by given to the minors. But if you deposit that scholarship funds in the minors account, they cannot withdraw. It is blocked. The purpose of giving the scholarship is ultimately cannot be used. To taking this into consideration by the central bank, right? Given authority to open an account called over 14 years, right? The minors over 14 years can now directly open account, right? Directly open account, savings account, and deposits scholarship funds or any funds to that account can be operated. That they can be operated, but no withdrawals from the counters, no cash withdrawals. But this minors have were given ATM cards, debit cards were given to withdraw the cash from a machine under the supervision of their parents. No cash withdrawal from the counters anyway. So any minor account, even minors account or any minor account of 14 years accounts, no cash withdrawal from the counters. Right? Okay, termination of relationship can be, that means transaction can be terminated in different occasions. That means termination with closing that account. Relationship may be terminated by mutual consent or unilaterally by one party. Both consent, both the company and the party get together, decide that close, or unilaterally can be caused by the either party. At the request of the customer, whenever if a customer make a request to close the account, we can close the account and terminate the relationship. Now, when it comes to current accounts, the unsatisfactory accounts come when they check returns, and if you're owed on for bank charges, those are coming for current accounts, can be closed that account. Then law enforcement, garnish orders, prohibitory orders, and legally, right? Law enforcement, for the court says to stop a terminate account, close account, or transfer the funds to the courts, then we have to carry out that order. That's law enforcement. We have to terminate the relationship. So then the bankruptcy we discussed in the first session itself. Whenever the customer becoming bankrupted, and they decided bankrupt, then that account has to be suspended immediately, relationship has to be closed. Then the account has to be closed and transfer that funds to dominant disease account, temporary. Then death of a customer and a relationship will be terminated. Right? Death of an individual, immediately the relationship will be suspended, closed, suspended. If it's a joint account, one party dies, the joint account, one party dies. Yes, and funds should go for the other party, but account can be operated. New account has to be opened. Why? A particular agreement with the bank has been ceased because of death of a customer. Right? Then mental incapacity we discussed in the earlier also, dramatically terminated a relationship. If a company's business has been winding up, this will be published in the newspapers under Section 7 of the Companies Act. If a company is winding up, that has to be closed that account. The relation will be terminated. Then winding of a bank, automatically the bank is closed, relationship was closed. Then outbreak of war, this of course reality happens between two countries, then the enemy country accounts will be suspended. In the case of death of a customer, how to disperse the funds? That also we will discuss not only occurring, but how to disperse the funds. There are different types of customers, personal accounts, individual customers, right? The joint accounts, sole proprietors, partnerships, limited liability companies, clubs and societies, executors and administrators. This I told earlier also, only for current accounts. At personal accounts, there are how to disperse the funds. Personal accounts, if there's a nominee, the nominee is given, then nominee has we have to give the nominee. Who is the nominee? Under section 544 of the Civil Procedure Code, a nominee or nominees can be appointed for savings account, time and term deposit account, safe deposit lockers, then treasury bills, etc., etc., etc. A nominee can be appointed. Even a minor can be appointed as a nominee. So if it's a person individual account, a nominee is appointed, then the nominee, if the customer dies, get the death certificate, and that's all we needed, and disperse the funds to the nominee. Right? If a nominee is a minor, we open a minor account, savings account, and deposit that money into the minor savings account. Then comes a partnership. Can a partnership be a nominee? Right. The partnership that nominees are given, both the parties, one party has died. One party has died. Other party is living. So what is the position? Surviving party get the funds. That's a normal condition. To get the nominee get the funds, both the parties have to die. Right? That's in the savings accounts. Then with the last will, if a customer party dies, individual or sole proprietorship or a partners, or a partners, so the individual and sole proprietorship, so these applies. The last will. Then last will has to be established in the courts, get a probate note. The value is immaterial for, there's no value for last will. So whatever, if there's a last will, whatever value we have to establish in the court of law about the last will, prove the last will, and get a probate to disperse the funds. According to the probate order, executor will disperse the funds. And without a last will, if a customer dies, individual or sole proprietor, without a last will, then if the assets, total value of the wealth is over 4 million rupees, then a testamentary case has to be established in the courts. A testamentary case has to be established in the courts to disperse the funds. So court will appoint a person called administrator. He will start dispersing the funds in the account. According to his instruction, we have to send the money to the courts for disbursement. Okay, right. So let's go back to this thing. Then partnerships. Similarly, no problem. When one partner dies, partnership has to be closed down. Other partners can carry out the business, and deceased partners' share will be given to the legal heirs and continue the business. Right? Those are not difficult questions. Only the personal concern we have problems mostly. Then comes to limited liability companies. If one director dies, whatever, limited liability company, director dies, company has to close. Not necessary, because limited liability company is a legal entity. It's an impersonal person. Impersonal person. Therefore, directors are different from the company, limited liability company. Solomon versus Solomon Limited is the famous case in 1856, which was decided in Britain, UK. This is the first case about the limited liability company. So limited liability company is a legal entity, separate legal entity. So when a director dies, the company will continue and new director can be appointed. Company will continue. Then comes the clubs and societies, same as that company. If an office bearer dies, society will be as it is. This it can be continued, where a new office bearer can be appointed to change the assignators. Then there's something I'm missing here. Executors and administrators of the same. When party dies, the court has appointed a new executor and administrator to disperse of funds. Now, there are certain instances where you may find power of attorneys are given. Power of attorneys were given by some customers, personal accounts maybe, to manage their accounts in their absence. The power of attorney is somebody is appointed to look after their accounts, interest accounts, in the absence of the customer. Now, what is the position if the attorney dies? Attorney dies? Oh, attorney dies, no problem. The principal is living. Therefore, account can be continued. No problem. Even a check issued by the power of attorney, after his death, even he can pay because the principal is living. A check issued by a power attorney before his death and is presented to payment after his death. You can pay the check because principal is living. Power of attorney is valid. It's vice versa. If the principal dies, the moment principal dies, power of attorney getting seized. So power of attorney, I have no right to make any transaction thereafter. His powers has been seized in that way. Okay, so these are the implications we had to discuss regarding the maintaining of accounts, opening of accounts, and maintaining of accounts. Okay, so now let's go to the other time, opening of foreign currency accounts. What are the latest developments regarding this opening of foreign currency accounts? And what are these accounts? Briefly, I'll just go through because I don't know whether to what extent you are having this foreign currency accounts with your CDB. It can be open account according to central bank guidelines. So anyway, it's happen to open. So what type of accounts we can maintain? What are types of accounts available? And have a small idea about foreign currency accounts. There are redesignation of existing foreign currency account with the new changes in 2017. Almost the accounts have been classified into 4 categories. Personal foreign currency accounts. Right? One is first currency, personal currency, we call PFCAs. They are RFC accounts, resident foreign currency account, NRFC, non-resident foreign currency account, RNNFC, resident non-national foreign currency account, and RNNTA, national resident non-foreign currency accounts. All these accounts are amalgamated. Now we call personal foreign currency account, coming under that category. Then the business foreign currency account, BFCAs, are FEAA, IRA, FCA, AFA, that's foreign exchange, export foreign exchange export accounts, and IR investment accounts, like and FCA accounts. Then investment accounts called share invest called share accounts and FCA, SFID accounts. And outward investment account is a new one, OIS. Let us briefly go one by one. What are these accounts and how to operate and maintain these accounts? First part, personal accounts. It is called RFC, means resident foreign currency account. NRFC means non-resident foreign currency accounts. RNNFC accounts mean non-resident non-national foreign currency account. NRNFC non-resident non-national foreign currency accounts. The foreign exchange earners accounts. Inward remittance distribution accounts. Foreign currency account for agent of foreign shipping lines and airlines. Securities investment account. Special foreign investment deposit accounts. So these are the categories earlier to discuss in details. So opening a personal foreign currency account, that is NRFC, RFC, RNNFC, NRFC, these 4 categories. What are the eligibility? An individual, including a minor who is a Sri Lankan national. First one is, he should be Sri Lankan national, can open foreign currency account. An individual of Sri Lankan origin, including a minor who is a resident outside Sri Lanka. Right? It's a national. Right? Now you understand the difference between national and non-national. He is residing outside but a Sri Lankan. Right? Then his nationality has not been changed. Right? Although Sri Lankas migrated and obtained other countries' national, then they can open personal foreign currency account in Sri Lanka. Right? They are not considered as Sri Lankan national. They are foreign nationals thereafter. They are foreigners for us. So they are having a different not Sri Lankan passport, that country passport. Okay, so individual, whoever is Sri Lanka, That is RFA account or can be opened. Anybody can open RFA account in Sri Lanka. Then who have been gone abroad for employment, education, or residing abroad temporarily, they also can open PFSA account. Non-national resident in Sri Lanka, including the minor. Non-national, right? Non-national means foreigners residing in Sri Lanka, including a minor, can open account. A non-national either on temporary visit to Sri Lanka or intending to visit Sri Lanka. The person intend to visit Sri Lanka, to want to come to Sri Lanka and to spend certain money in Sri Lanka, he can open an account before he coming to Sri Lanka. Or a temporary. So non-national means they are not Sri Lankans. Non-national resident in Sri Lanka, including minor, that foreigners who are staying in Sri Lanka with resident visa, right? The resident visa is working, so especially you may find that employees in the companies, institution, organization, foreign nationals are residing in Sri Lanka, they can open this PFCA account. Also, a foreigner who comes temporarily to Sri Lanka on a visit or intend to Sri Lanka in the future, he also can open this account. Now, these two are the new changes in this new act. Okay. Earlier, these non-nationals were not allowed to open accounts in Sri Lanka, except for current accounts. Right? Savings accounts were not allowed because interest payment were not allowed. Earning to earn something that were not allowed to non-national. But it has been now withdrawn. It has been changed now. An administrator or executor of the estate of the deceased person who maintained a personal foreign currency account with the authorized dealer until the completion of the administration of the deceased person estate. But any Sri Lanka administrator or executor, I've discussed who is administrator, who is executor. Administrator person who dies without last will. Executor is appointed a person who dies with a last will. Until that completion of the administration work, a foreign currency account can be opened for administration on behalf of the deceased person in maybe Sri Lanka. If you may be opened and maintained by as savings account, current without withdrawing the facility, or term deposit account in any designated foreign currency. Now, what are the types of currencies accounts we can open foreign currency account? They are listed by the central bank. 12 currencies already there. We can open accounts. That is US dollars, sterling pounds, euros, Japanese yen, what are other things? France. So these accounts in any currency, you can maintain account, the savings account or a current account. So current account, there's no overdraft facilities given, right? For under PFCS accounts. Account may be held as a joint account with another eligible person. Right. When I open a joint account, who is this eligible person? Right. Now, for example, NRSC account can be opened with a that is he is abroad. Is not in the is not residing in Sri Lanka, and he can open account the same category person in the same category. That is a person who has been abroad. Okay, so that cannot be mixed. That is NRSC account, NRSC person, non-resident cannot be joint with a resident account. It's not eligible. A new PFCA may also be opened for an individual with a deposit of foreign currency notes brought back to the country being unutilized travel allowance by such individual where such foreign currency has been purchased from an authorized dealer or for a purpose of traveling abroad. Now, this is you are permitted person who went for a scholarship or some sort of a temporary visit outside, right? And the visit visa go outside, and he is authorized to take for what do you call foreign allowances, right? Foreign currency allowances are given. That is known 2,000 currency is given 2,000 sterling pounds, sorry, US dollars, are allowed to take currency as allowances. Then, when you return back, if you are not utilize those currencies, full amount or part of that, he can use this allowance to deposit, open a NRC account or PFCA account. Subject to that dollars has been purchased from a authorized dealer for the purpose of going abroad. Now, this of course earlier the central bank not allowed to encash any travelers checks or foreign currency taken from Sri Lanka abroad on temporary visit, on a visit visa, go for visit for pilgrimage, visit shopping sometime maybe. People go out and return back. The unutilized funds has to be returned back to the authorized dealer and should be cashed. You cannot keep the currency with you earlier with the foreign exchange regulations. Is an offense. Time back is an offense. Long time before it was it's become a very criminal offense. This is Bandanaga's period. Bandanaga's period, there were people, no one is allowed to keep even a single dollar with them. It's offense. Foreign currency, sorry, Mrs. Bandana. After 1977, Jawahar came to power and made open economy. After that only, even Sri Lankans who can have foreign currency with in their position. Foreign currency, open economy, okay, so travel allowances, for example, if you are going for a scholarship from the bank, you are sent for a training program at somewhere. So a traveling allowance is given for you, for your personal use. When you return back, now you can deposit that money, even in the currency or traveler's checks, into an account in the foreign currency. Okay, that is permitted now. That is a new change we have come across. What are the credit can be given permitted for the PFCA? All permitted credit to the PFCA are divided into following subcategories in order to identify transactions with more clarity, and they are follows: fund transfers from one account to another account, fund transfers, and current transactions. Current transactions defined as fund transfers from abroad as foreign remittances. Current transaction, one account to another account, we can transfer funds. From one PFC account to another PFC account, we can transfer funds. Or foreign, export, foreign exchange export currency account can be transferred to personal account. Then foreign currency notes can deposit into any PFCA account. Right? So any investment from that funds comes from any investments, right? Returns from the investments that can be deposited. deceased and nomination. Right? Deceased and nomination mean if one person dies, then his disbursement of his funds can be deposited. Deceased person funds can be deposited if you have a share on that. So for example, a person dies and you get a share of that deceased person's funds in the foreign currency. So you can get that is deposited in your account, let's see, if PFCA. Also, when the person dies, his nomination is given, nominated person. That nominated person can deposit the currencies, the transaction in the foreign currency. Now, for example, a person went abroad and a lot of money, and he's having an RSC account in Sri Lanka. We call PFC account. PFC account in Sri Lanka. When he dies, it's not necessary to convert those foreign currency into rupees, right? So whoever, now for example, if there is a nomination is when nominated somebody for that account. For example, his son is nominated as nominee to that account. So we can open a nominee account. Nominee can open an account and transfer that funds in the foreign currency itself to the nominee's account. Similarly, deceased person's account can be disbursed in foreign currency, can be deposited foreign currency account. Yeah. Then comes to business foreign currency accounts, BFCA, second category, for business purposes. Eligibility, the following person in or resident in Sri Lanka who earn foreign exchange. Whoever earns foreign exchange, where a business account can be opened, earning foreign exchange. An individual resident in Sri Lanka. An individual resident in Sri Lanka can open a BFCA account. Right? That is not sole proprietor individually. Now you may find that a lot of people in Sri Lanka, even Sri Lanka, they are doing virtue officers, working for companies abroad, residing in Sri Lanka, start going abroad. Their income is coming in foreign exchange, in foreign currency. So they can open a business foreign currency account for their consultation work. Now the consultation is a business. Working from here, right? Online working, earning online is a business. It's considered as a business investment. Therefore, either you can put into personal foreign currency account or can open a BFCA account. But the advantage in the BFCA account is sometimes funds in BFCA accounts, sometimes exchange control regulations allows to use those funds for import of certain required items. Right? So that purpose, the BFCA account can be maintained. A sole proprietorship or a partnership registered in Sri Lanka where the proprietor or majority partners are resident in Sri Lanka. In case of partnership with two partners, at least one partner shall be resident in Sri Lanka. Right? A partnership can be established at least partnership with the foreigners. Right? Foreign partners, in partnership is established with foreign partners, at least one partner should be a Sri Lankan resident. And he should be a Sri Lankan resident. Then a company incorporated in Sri Lanka under Companies Act can open business foreign currency account if they are dealing with foreign exchange. A company incorporated outside Sri Lanka, which is registered as an overseas company under Companies Act number 7 of 2007. Sri Lankan nationals open account outside Sri Lanka, right? But registered under Companies Act, it has been registered as an overseas company. Then their remittances can be deposited into foreign currency account in Sri Lanka. Then state institution with a recommendation of a secretary to the relevant prime ministry, appropriate authority. State institutions. If the state institutions are dealing with foreign exchange, that they can open a BFCA account. Right? State institution, government institution, can open a business foreign currency account. A person authorized to carry on business on a shipping agent or a general sales agent in Sri Lanka on behalf of foreign shipping line or airline. Sorry. Then there are persons who are working in Sri Lanka, sometimes maybe a company, sometimes maybe individuals, sometimes sole proprietorships. And as a shipping agent, in the shipping line, a shipping agent or GSA, General Sales Agent in Sri Lanka, on behalf of foreign shipping line or airline, it also can, in the foreign exchange, he transaction with the foreign exchange, he can deposit his foreign earnings into business foreign currency account. Then a receiver or a liquidator in the name of a company as maintained in a business foreign currency account until proceedings are concluded. If the company is dissolved, if the company is closed down, where the funds are foreign exchange is there in that account, can be to disperse that fund, a liquidator can be open account. Something like a deceased person, we discuss about this probate and this administrator executor. Similarly, in a company is dissolved, a liquidator will be appointed to manage the company's transactions to conclude their business, pay off all the liabilities, and collect all the assets, receivables, and finalize the transactions. Similarly, they can do in the foreign currency also. If a company having a business foreign currency account, that proceed can be to disperse that proceeds. A liquidator can open a business foreign currency account. So, what are the category of persons permitted to open these foreign currency accounts? Exporters of goods, merchandise. Any exporter can open a foreign currency account, right? So, to deposit this export proceedings. Exporters of professional services, right? Exporters of professional service providers, right? So people who are sometimes they are doing, they are selling their professional services to required organizations outside the country. So also falling under exports. So the professional services earned income, foreign exchange can be deposited into BFCA's account. Persons who engage in the business of interport trade as intermediaries. What's the interport trade? Person who is engaged in business and interport. That is import and re-export. Interport means import and export. Entry to the port immediately will be exported. It's called interport trade. Now, there are certain Sri Lankans who have who were doing this entrepreneur trading, that is importing vehicles from the Middle East and immediately export to other countries like African countries, Bangladesh. They import and export immediately and interport trade. That's called interport trade. So whatever foreign exchange earned can deposit in foreign currency account by them. Travel agents and tour operators. Now, the tour operators and travel agents who are registered travel agents and registered tour operators. There are guides also are tour operators. So, but they cannot open PF account. They can open a personal account. The tour operators and guides, they get with foreign currency. So they can open early we had RFA account. They can put it in RFA, like that is called personal foreign currency account. They can deposit that money in the personal foreign currency account, the foreign exchange. Then travel agents and tour operators, they are getting foreign currency, so they can open a BFCA account. Then hotels and restaurant, tourist hotels and restaurant, whoever authorized to collect foreign currency and deposit their foreign exchange into BFCA account. Then gem and jewelry dealers, who are gem exporters, jewelry exporters, the dealers, also gem and jewel traders in dealers in Sri Lanka, those who are selling their gem and jewelry for foreign currency, for the foreigners in foreign currency. So they are also having can deposit their foreign currency into BFCA account. Then foreign employment agencies. Foreign employment agencies, so they are getting agency fee from their foreign correspondence, from their foreign principals. Yeah, agencies are getting foreign currencies for their agency fees. So this agency fee also can be deposited into BFCA account. Then freight forwarders and other logistic service providers, license authorized by Director General of Merchant Shipping of Sri Lanka, the freight forwarders, that's good, and logistic service providers. Now, who are these parties? Transporters. Freight forwarders are transporters, container transporters, and logistics suppliers, authorized by the Director General of Merchant Shipping Sri Lanka, or license, have a license people, they can deposit their foreign currency into BFCA account. The shipping agents license, similarly, shipping agents also can operate BFCA account. GSA, General Service Agents, license authorized directed by Civil Aviation Authority of Sri Lanka. General Sales Agents that we discussed a little while ago, we discussed who is this GSA account, who are travel agents, travel and travel document, what you call travel and ticketing by ticketing and ticketing agents, right? The bunker operation licensed by the relevant line ministry. That is, bunker operation means where the what do you call fuel is provided to the ships and other ships for bunker operation. Also shipping port suppliers, operators licensed by relevant ministry, and they are getting foreign exchange. Then port terminal operators, right? The port terminal operators, the terminal operators, outside operators, other than the port authority, they are also getting foreign currency. The airline terminal service providers, okay? The airlines, they have sales points, they are getting the foreign currency exchange. They also can maintain foreign currency PFA account. The food and beverage suppliers to shipping lines and airlines. Straightforward, you know that who are the people. Catering services to the shipping and airlines, shipping lines and airlines, food and beverages suppliers, they're getting foreign exchange. Duty-free shops who engage in permitted business to supply goods and services under the duty-free concessions, maintaining duty-free shops, they also can deposit their funds in the BFCA account. Then indirect exporters of goods who comply with the requirements and or recommendation of the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka or Export Development Board or registered under temporary import-export process scheme and importing goods possession supply such goods to the direct exporters. Right. Now, indirect exporters mean they are not directly exporting. They import and supply to the supply as raw material or intermediary goods to process and re-export. Process and re-export for indirect exporters. So their funds also can be deposited in the BFCA accounts. BFCA account may open and maintain a savings, current or term deposit account and in any designated foreign currency. Right? That means earlier even appeared like this also can be opened in any foreign currency. Bank shall obtain document evidence including the authorization by the relevant authorities, if any, in respect of earnings in foreign exchange from a person resident outside Sri Lanka. So the foreign exchange always should come from outside Sri Lanka. Right? The BFCA shall not be overdrawn except by the way of an overdraft facility granted under the recommendation of BFCA holders. So this will be, current account will not be overdrawn, but overdraft facility can be given for exporters, right? For their processing. What are the credits authorized by the Central, the Exchange Control Department for BFC accounts? Current transaction, fund transactions. The shipping and general sales agent, sale of articles, and sale of bill of ladings, goods exporting. Then foreign currency note, investment, property developers, and other miscellaneous. Okay. Then comes to investment account. Investment account, IIA. There was also early this year non-national resident eligible investors who are, that is invest in Sri Lanka in foreign currency, right? Who are allowed to bring foreign currency to Sri Lanka to do investment in Sri Lankan businesses. The non-national resident in or outside Sri Lanka, non-national foreigner, it's not a Sri Lankan, are authorized to bring foreign currency to transact with the our money market and capital market investments. So these are investments, foreign investments. The Sri Lanka dual citizen resident outside or resident in or outside Sri Lanka, they also can bring investments, right? This is not on. These are investments. A large quantity of foreign currency can be brought into the country and to investment purposes. Sri Lankan national who has obtained permanent residence status or citizenship in another country, resident outside in or outside Sri Lanka. Permanent residence status and citizenship in other countries, but residing in our country. Our Sri Lankans, they have citizenship with another country, therefore there are no more Sri Lankans, and they also can do investments. මේකල මට හිතෙන්නේ මේ මොනවා එකක් තියෙන හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් නේ. මේක අලුතෙන් එද්ද පොඩි සැකයක් තියෙනවා මේක. Sri Lankan national who has obtained permanent residency status or citizenship in another country, resident in or outside Sri Lanka can invest money in Sri Lanka as put in the money in the inward investment account and do investment in Sri Lanka. හිතලා බලන්න මේ මොකක්ද කියන එක නේද? Anyway, so that is of course permitted. Whoever Sri Lanka has gone abroad and got a permanent resident outside, and they can bring back foreign exchange into an investment account. The Sri Lankan national is employed abroad, resident outside Sri Lanka, excluding migrants. Right? So this is of course okay. The people who are working abroad, they can invest money in that investment account in Sri Lanka. A company incorporated outside Sri Lanka, a partnership registered outside Sri Lanka. Right? Sometimes our companies are registered in other countries also. The country fund, regional funds, mutual fund, unit trust, and foreign institutional investors established outside Sri Lanka. That means to deposit investment can be done by the mutual funds and other funds. Like Sri Lanka, we have our in our what you call EPF and ETF, our funds, those are our funds, employees transfers, employees provident fund, that those funds also can be utilized to invest in other countries. Right? Outside, this is outside investments coming to Sri Lanka. An administrator executor of the estate of deceased person who maintain an IRA with an authorized dealer. So anyway, who having IRR, IIA account, he part deceases and is to disperse his funds, an administrator can open an account and investment savings account can be opened. A receiver liquidator of company, which I discussed earlier also, similar, a company also can be to an investment. Right. Inward investment accounts may be opened and maintain savings account, current account without overdraft and the term deposit, foreign currency, any foreign currency. Okay, with this earlier three categories, same thing we had discussed. May held as a joint account with another eligible person, the immediate family member. Right? So that is family members can get together, joint account, and immediate family member can join eligible person, right, with a family member. Okay, so family member can join for the IIA. Bank shall ensure that all income and capital proceeds of investments are credited to IIA through which the investment was made as stipulated in the regulations. So all the income and capital proceeds means selling properties and getting capital return has to be deposited, can be deposited to these IIA accounts. It may be closed only after the repatriation, transfer of proceeds of disposal, liquidation of all investment acquired by the account holder through IIA. After completion, the job account can be closed down. Okay, so that's about the foreign currency accounts and foreign currency dealings. So we discussed today how to open account, how to maintain account, to pay accounts, what are types of accounts we can open. Some are of course not relevant to us, but still for all, like according to your request by the management, I discussed to get the knowledge for you about the products in our financial markets. Sometimes it may be helpful for you to